Hello, I'm Angelo Robles. I'm the founder and CEO of Family Office Association and the host of the Angelo Robles podcast on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Stitcher, and other platforms. I've been in the industry a long time. I devoted effectively my life to single family offices, understanding the families, the executives, and those that service the family office for a long time. Having had connections and relationships with literally thousands of amazing families and executives over the years, I've been always thinking about, along with the books that I've written, hundreds of research and white papers, and all that I've done or tried to do inside a family office association and my initiatives in the family office community. I always wanted to do a masterclass, and now in today's digital virtual world, it seems to be the best time better than ever. So I'm so excited to be rolling out really a kind of a culmination of my life's work and really getting deep insights for the family office executive, and for those that even service the community. That, the old saying, I think it's Tony Robbins, if I could condense like 10 years of knowledge into whatever, hours or a week, wouldn't that be worth it? How much is that worth to you? Especially with an industry that is so hard to understand, to get trends and best practices. So I'm lucky to be in the position that I'm in, and I'm really impassioned so much about what I do that I'm so excited about this masterclass. So I'm going to be doing multiple masterclasses, of course, on family offices, single family offices, but my initial one is going to be the most broad, the most comprehensive, and really the best look, broadly speaking, into the world of these amazing families and their family offices. It's titled Creating an Adaptive, Resilient, Anti-Fragile Family Office That Thrives Generationally: The Rise of the Modern Single Family Office. I have certain outcomes that I'm looking to cover in this masterclass to give you some context of what I'm looking to do, foresight into the future of wealthy families and their family offices, insight into the myriad of challenges facing wealthy families, and the most important reasons to have a single family office, understanding the single family office role in coordinating internal and external resources to mitigate risk, navigate black swans, and procure positive outcomes now and in the future, valuing the need for families and their family offices to adapt as the current modus operandi leaves them vulnerable and at risk of failure. Comprehending the why and how a family office needs to adapt to procure, as I noted, positive future outcomes, prepare for intergenerational necessity, understanding the vulnerabilities, and becoming more resilient and anti-fragile so the single family office could thrive in crisis. Learning 3 takeaways in having a high-performing single family office: the quality of your people, always number one, but we go really in depth into that. Consistent communication and systems. Organizing what single family offices commonly focus their resources towards, including mitigating taxes, estate transfer, asset protection, investments, philanthropy, educating the rising generation, and some family offices are more service and concierge centric to their specific family. But that's not it. Also, foresight as to the why the family and the single family office needs a chief learning officer to educate and enhance capacity and capabilities to sustain the family's personal, cultural, and financial well-being for generations. And much of this that I share, I learned from Matt Wesley, who's an amazing deep thought leader in the family office community. Also, insight into the rise of the virtual single family office and how today, during COVID, remote and digital and technology, it's reshaping the community, probably like nothing else has, even some of the regulation and tax issues that have evolved, at least here in the US, in the last decade. Understanding the importance and insights into proper governance structure as well as legal and tax structure. And so many people get that wrong. And it doesn't matter if you're outside of the US, there's certain structures and things that are going to be specific to your domicile and a variety of other factors that you need to get right in creating and adapting into a modern, effective, and efficient family office. Valuing the most important aspect in a single family office are not the goals. That does not set great family offices apart. Goals come and go. Really, it's the people, ideas, technologies, and systems. And I hinted at that a little while ago, but we have a little different perspective on it in kind of part 1 and part 2 of the masterclass. And this is a deep masterclass in multiple parts. I'm giving you, everything that I learned, at least from a broad perspective. And in the future, we'll do deep dive virtual masterclasses into more singular topics. But I'm not even done yet with what you're going to get from what I'm doing in this masterclass. Also, comprehending the advancing technology revolution, big data, AI, and technologies used in today's new normal by the world's most tech-savvy single-family offices. At Family Office Association, some of our members are $10 billion, some multiple of that, plus families and their family offices, and insights to how they've adapted, how they've become more global, how they're working incredibly remotely, more efficiently than ever before, but also how they're fostering a culture of leadership, of culture, speaking of culture. And this all often comes down to the internal operating system of that family office that comes down from the family to the family office executive, to its cultural, its leadership. And yeah, the technology is important. We're going to talk a truckload about it. I'm going to even mention names of various technological providers that the best family offices are using. So we have so much to cover. But technology comes and goes, and it's advancing so rapidly, it still comes down often to people, ideas, and the systems. Still not done. Learning the systems, processes, standards, policy, and procedures in developing true best practices in the family office. And then one of my favorites, the importance of organizing stress testing, playing out what-if scenarios. And this really helps against black swan events, against things like COVID-19. What could happen? You have to understand the family is already very, very rich. They want to stay that way. They don't want to take a hit to 30, 50, 60% plus of their portfolio. That probably means as an executive, you're going to be out of a job, and it's going to be very stressful for the family. So we talk about organizing kind of red cell team attacks and other strategies, playing out tabletop exercises in terms of becoming resilient and anti-fragile. Oh, there's a lot we're covering in this masterclass. UBS stated 2019 that there's 7,300 single-family offices and tens of thousands of multifamily offices out there, but that's being very formal as a formal structure and a non-family executive. And those numbers are increasing even during COVID times. But if you open that up to families that have an embedded family office or kind of an indirect family office, that also is going to be a huge number, probably 20 or 30,000. And they're not doing it right. They're making a truckload of mistakes. So we're going to show you how they should be doing that properly. By 2025, there's expected to be 100 trillion. Yeah, 100 trillion. I think it might even be higher, but 100 trillion of net worth by among the world's quote unquote wealthiest families. There's approximately 2,400 on the record billionaires. I think that number is relatively significantly higher. But again, that's what kind of the numbers and the statistics currently show. And yes, I know, compared to the average person, of course they're in a good position, but there are threats to these families and their family enterprises, and that could really, their life's work could come toppling down within days. And this is their legacy, their heritage, often how they give money back to the community, philanthropy, which is so important to these amazing families. But just think of it, an uncertain economy, cyber threats, tax complexities, constantly evolving global regulations, changing family dynamics, terrorist attack, geopolitical risk, which is all over the place now, generational conflicts, emerging technologies, COVID-19 and viruses, and that's certainly not all of them. That's just touching on a relatively modest number. I mean, family offices in the US go back to the Rockefeller family in the 1880s, but really go back to Europe and even before that in China, the concept of dedicating resources around one family of great wealth. So the concept of it has been around a long time, but still it's so fragmented, so difficult for people to get a peek inside in terms of what the community's like. What's the most important reason to have a single family office? Most will say preserve wealth, their resources, sustain their legacy. True, put it in a different way, basically it's to stay rich. The single family office must proactively coordinate internal and external resources to mitigate risk, and there's so many. Investment, operational, geopolitical, tax, government, confiscation, cyber, divorce, lawsuits, intra-family. Navigate black swans, and again, one of my favorites, procure positive future outcomes. You want your single family office to solve problems before they exist. You know, you want your single family office, like I said, maybe narrow it down to 3 things to procure positive future outcomes. That takes the right people and systems and a more forward way of thinking, proactively mitigate risk, and assist the family to become anti-fragile. When things turn upside down, may actually create an opportunity to benefit from such disruptions. In the book, I wrote my own book, Effective Family Office, but I also co-wrote a book with Russ Allen Prince, John Bowen, and Peter Sasaki, Maximizing Your Single Family Office. And we talk about, again, kind of the big 3. And mine have adapted to be a little different, but basically it's the quality of your people team, the consistency of communication, very important, and your systems. And most family offices, especially on the latter 2, are really, unfortunately, subpar. The good news is that could be improved, and relatively pretty quickly. So and I did mention this earlier on in some of the topics I'll be covering, but mainly for family offices, they're there for the reasons I noted earlier. The family wants to stay rich, preserve their legacy, quote unquote. Mitigating taxes, really important. We do a deep dive into that. Estate transfer. And the first 2 that I mentioned are things that could be relatively controlled. Asset protection, potentially another one. That gets complex, we do a deep dive into that. Investments, of course, an anchor and a foundation of many family offices. And one, they may have a little bit more difficulty in controlling. Again, a family worth, hundreds of millions or billions? In theory, they could sit on the sidelines. They don't have to invest. Now, they will for a variety of reasons. They're going to argue inflation. Some of it will be ego and just boredom and wanting to do things, but we do a deep dive into that as well. Very important, customized philanthropy. And perhaps the number one thing for many families to procure their legacy generation after generation is educating the rising generation. We do a very, very deep dive with some cutting edge research and ideas relative to that. So really proud of what we've done with that. And again, some family offices are almost daily reactive to specific requests, so more service concierge centric, and there's nuances to the resources, talent, and systems that type of family office needs. Again, we're going to pound home the quality of people, ideas, technology, and systems. So this has been, really exciting for me. The masterclass, some of you may be able to sign up to our new branded website, FamilyOfficeAssociation.com. I also have a personal website, and both of these should be up and running, we're hopeful, by about August 15th. So that's about 5 to 7 days from now as I'm recording this. That's AngeloRobles.com. So you have FamilyOfficeAssociation.com, AngeloRobles.com, and the actual masterclass with the PowerPoints, me zooming, videoing, talking through it, And yeah, it does need the context of me talking through it. It's not just me dropping a 137 slide PowerPoint on you. That would be okay and better than nothing, but you need my experiences and context to help explain it. And that's going to be hosted on familyofficemasterclass.teachable.com. Again, familyofficemasterclass.teachable.com. So I'm really excited about it. This is going to be tremendous. We hope you're all going to enjoy it. And then in the relatively near future, specific masterclasses on the virtual family office, the rise of technology, how AI and big data and other technologies are going to be changing the world of wealth and family offices forever. A remote workforce. We have a deeper dive into investing, especially direct investing, and the advantages and challenges for families that do that. So we have so much to cover, but this is going to lay the foundation and be the most comprehensive masterclass. And I think I know everything globally in the family office community. There's nothing like this. And you don't even have to be, my members get it for free because they're members of Family Office Association. But we're making this masterclass available at a great price for non-members. And really, again, it's going to put years of experience, knowledge, trial and error at your fingertips for, you're all going to learn it in several hours for a very, very good price. Everyone, I am Angelo Robles. I'm the founder and CEO of Family Office Association. We hope you jump in and join, subscribe, whatever the word is, to the masterclass. I look forward to getting to know you. My preferred email is angelo@familyofficeassociation.com. I could also be followed on my YouTube channel, which is simply Family Office, and on Instagram, I'm Family Office Association. Thank you so much.